All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. Talking Auburn football, go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. So, I know all of you fans, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you see exactly what has happened as the trajectory of recruiting and team building is changing in college football. And I think it's about time, though. Now, the pandemic brought about a lot of changes, brought about a lot of transfers, that unpenalized transfers. As a matter of fact, the SEC last week said that, hey, at least for this year, you can transfer interconference and you'll be able to play immediately. What a game changer. Georgia has capitalized off of this. Auburn definitely has capitalized off this, and the transfer portal continues to be a really nice spot for teams to add depth. Now, Bryan Harsin could not be in a better place. You know, you talk about taking on a new team, a new conference. I mean, you're in a different genre of football now. You're in Power 5 now. And you have access to JUCOs. You have access to other teams that have players hitting the transfer portal. I mean, you really eating the transfer portal up. Now, all of this is potential energy. I mean, we don't know how this is going to translate over, but hell, it's definitely a good start. Because when Gus Malzahn took over Auburn, none of this was the case. It wasn't a case to where you could feed into a transfer portal to build a team. It just wasn't the case. But I want you all to revisit this video mid-season 2021. Because this is the video where I want to talk about why Auburn benefits so much from this transfer portal. I think even at the onset, Bryan Harsin did not necessarily inherit a bad team. I mean, I think this was an underdeveloped team. I think this was an inexperienced team. I think this was a team that lacked focus and that lacked discipline. But even without the transfer portal, I think this is an Auburn team that could have won 6 or 7 games this year. Especially if they took care of business on the front end. You got Alabama State, Akron, Georgia State. I think you're good enough to beat Penn State. And I'm not saying that as a homer. I'm just saying that square business because of the prior recruiting classes. But now you've added all these guys that we're going to dive into from what I've missed. Well, I haven't missed, but I just haven't talked about it over the past weekend. I think you got a really good opportunity. Now, I'm not gonna sunshine pump this thing and say that because Auburn is reeling all these guys in, that they're going to be a 9-11 win team and win the SEC West. That's kind of far-fetched. But I think what you're going to see is a pretty damn decent brand of football from Auburn this year. You're going to see some decent depth. Because I'm going to tell you, I've watched this team over the last, I've watched them for a long time. But when I really started diving in to the logistics of college football, and especially how it has changed since 2010, if you don't have depth, no matter, and see, that's what has frustrated the Auburn fan base, is that they didn't understand. Auburn did not have the depth to legitimately compete unless it was on some luck stuff like, 2010, 2013, that kind of thing. So Ask yourself, depth-wise, Trey Mason gets hurt down the stretch. Auburn ain't in not going to the national championship game in 2013. Nick Marshall gets hurt. Auburn's not going. A key lineman gets hurt. See, that's that non-power 5 stuff. To where one guy gets hurt and it's a wrap. And that's what I think Auburn is going to avoid with this transfer portal. Right? One injury won't stop the show. We're going to talk more about this. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.